Welcome to the Be Real podcast with your hosts, Joe Cebula and Bobby Maximus. Bobby, how is it going?
I just want to tell you, you chose this, Joe.
Okay.
This is
And
100%
where are we going with this?
your fault.
It's all
Here's
my
why I'm
fault.
saying
Okay.
this. I'm sick and tired of people blaming external factors for their lack of fitness. It's my
All right.
genetics. It was the weather. It was the food. It was the red 42 or the seed oils. If you're not fit, it's 100% your fault. You're not a victim. There's not a conspiracy trying to drag you down. It's simply because you didn't put in the requisite amount of effort. Conversely, if you are fit, if you do have that six pack, if you can't jump on a 50-inch box, if you can't bench press for 225 for 37 reps, whatever your measure of fitness is, it's probably because that is also your fault. You put in the work. You weren't just born with the gift. Somewhere along the way, you had to put in that requisite amount of effort. And anything that you want to throw into the wind as an excuse or as an explainer, in my world, it doesn't count.
Right. And I hear a lot from people about, oh, I used to be so lean. I used to be a lean, mean fighting machine, but now I'm 75 pounds overweight. Right.
You did that to yourself. You chose that life.
You put a lot of work into getting to the point that you're at today. Because if you went from fit to 75 pounds overweight, like that's a lot of effort too. So I know you can do something. I know you have the capacity to do something. So you need to do it. You need to put that work in, because whether you're fit or not, yeah, you're right. 100% on you.
So I talk about this in my book. Right. Here's why I love fitness. Someone asked me why I love fitness so much, and I actually loved my answer so much I put it in this book. The reason I love fitness, Joe, is it's because the one area of my life that I have full control. Let me explain this to you. You're a perfect driver. That little lizard, I was going to say lizard, I can't even talk. The little lizard from Geico gives you the 5-star insurance rating. State Farm, Aaron Rodgers, your guy, as a lifelong Green Bay Packers fan, tells you that you get the double check discount because you have never been in an accident and you're sitting at a red light, minding your own business, and someone plows into you from behind. There goes your 5-star rating. There goes your discount double check or whatever it's called. That wasn't your fault. That was the kid behind you that had their face in their phone. I say kid. I actually take that back. That's offensive. Probably adult these days that rammed into you that caused that accident. You can be a perfect spouse, and your partner could cheat on you through no fault of your own. You could run a perfect business, and something could come out of thin air to derail the economy. Oh, I don't know, a tariff. And all of a sudden, you are bankrupt and your business goes under. That is not your fault. When it comes to fitness, though, there's a simple contract with fitness and with health. You might not ever make the Olympics. You might not make the NBA. You might not make varsity team if you're in high school, right? But Joe, I promise you, if you do the right things today, you will be better tomorrow.
Right.
And if you do the wrong things, you will be worse tomorrow. There's no way around it. Now, there are genetic limitations on people, right? If you're born and you're 5'3", you're probably not playing in the NBA. But even that person that's 5'3", can you get better at basketball by practicing? 100%. It's completely 100% in your control. And when I meet people, like you said, your example, people that put on 75 pounds over a number of years, just look at their behavior. They're eating chips. They're drinking soda. They're not walking. They're not active. They spend more time streaming their favorite show than they do working out. And you look at the person that is fit, lo and behold, guess what they did every day, Joe? Went to the gym.
Worked out.
They made good food choices. They dealt with discomfort a little more. They were okay being hungry. Like it's 100% in your control. But we live in a day and age where the internet tells you it's not your fault. The internet tells you it's some shadowy substance in your food like red 42 or seed oils. Now, just as an example, Joe, I do eat McDonald's from time to time. I have
Hmm?
went for a cheat meal. I'm sure I have ingested some Red 42 in my life. I'm not sitting here completely out of shape. Apparently, it didn't affect me that badly. Before you get all twisted, I'm not telling you it's good for you either, Joe. But that wasn't the thing that did you in. Let me
Well,
ask you a question.
realistically, I used to be into the whole paleo scene, right? That was a big thing in the CrossFit world. Is that if we didn't eat it, 10,000 years ago, we probably should be eating it today. But perspective, because I do think that if a group of hunter gatherers were marching through the woods looking for their next meal and they just happened to stumble across a deep dish pizza, probably would have eaten it.
They would have eaten it.
They
And would
would
they
have
all
eaten
of a
it.
sudden wake up from that one deep dish pizza? Would they wake up overweight? Would they wake up out of
Yeah.
shape? Let me
No.
ask you a question. Do you
Hmm.
drink alcohol?
Yeah.
On occasion, right?
Yeah.
Do you think one drink would make you fat?
Not one. No.
Do you think two spread over the course of your life would make you fat? The answer is
No.
no. Drinking didn't make you fat either. It's the behaviors around drinking. It's the amount you drank. It's what you ate with it. It's the lack
Right?
of
The
activity,
snacking.
the lack of
Hmm.
sleep it caused. Like you have to drink a lot to become overweight from drinking. And every single person that I've met, it's not that one thing that did them in. It's a whole host of lifestyle
Yeah.
behaviors that 100% they chose. But
Well,
again,
how about this? How about this perspective on this? Let's say you're an actor. You're a method actor, and you just got like ripped, shredded. You're in 303, the third installment, or and
all
you
right,
just got to look even better than they did in one. And so you're amazing. But your next role, you have to play somebody who's older, overweight, out of shape, and unhealthy.
better start drinking that butter.
You got to start doing some stuff. So if you look back, if that's where you are today, I'm overweight, out of shape, I'm unhealthy, what would you have done differently? If you
Yeah,
used to be a lean, mean fighting machine, what would you have done differently if you
to
had a
get
different
yourself fit.
goal? And like, there you go. So now you know that the path that you're on, whether you realize it or not, the choices that you're making are taking you somewhere. And like you said, it's either going to be closer to or further away from your goals.
Well,
There really isn't any middle ground.
and think about how the internet sells stuff to you, right? You need Monjourno. You need Ozempic. You
Mm-hmm.
need TRT. You need HRT. It's not your fault your hormones are low. It's the plastic in your water bottles that are
Yeah.
ruining your life. And 50 years ago, human testosterone was high. I'm going to argue, and I'm not saying that plasticizers in your water are good for you. Let's not go
Right.
down that road. I am all for 100% completely natural, unprocessed food. But it wasn't drinking from a plastic water bottle. Actually, I'll use myself as an example. The last time I got my testosterone tested, it was a couple of years ago, it was 951. That's
Mm-hmm.
without TRT, that's without PED, that's 100% naturally. I have drank from more plastic water bottles in my life than I care to admit. Because when you're
Yeah.
at your kid's soccer game, when you're out, when you're at the gas station and you want some water, I don't know how many plastic water bottles I've drank from in my life, Joe, but I'll bet you it's in the thousands.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
Apparently, those plasticizers didn't tank my testosterone. It's not that. It's the reason my testosterone is still high is because I sleep 8 hours a night, and I've been religious for that for years. Even when I work shift work as a cop, I would make sure I got my 8 hours in a completely blacked out environment. I mentioned I eat McDonald's sometimes. For every once I've eaten McDonald's, I've probably eaten 50 to 100 healthy,
Right.
non-processed meals. I drink on occasion, but the last time I was hung over, I believe was 2005, maybe 2003. Like it was years ago, Joe.
Yeah.
I work out every day. Like that's the issue. It's not the plasticizers.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I bring that up is there's a whole bunch of people who don't want to do the work, who make poor decisions around the clock, but then can't face up to that reality. And again, have to blame the plasticizers, the Red 42, the seed oil, the weird shadowy substance. That's the reason they're not fit. The reason people 50 years ago had higher testosterone, it wasn't just the plasticizers. It was they were more active. They snacked a lot less. They had a lot less screen time. They were active. Like all the things combined, that's why it wasn't that one thing. And I'm going to argue, Joe, you sit down tonight to watch what did I tell you to watch the other day? The new Witcher cartoon on Netflix.
Yep.
It's phenomenal. If you sit down to watch that cartoon, yes, I influenced you to sit down and watch that cartoon. But I didn't influence you to eat that bag of chips. I didn't influence you to have the whiskey with it. I didn't influence you to have a 64-ounce Mountain Dew.
And here I was going to say, this is all your fault. Now, finally, we're getting somewhere.
Yes, but that's 100% a choice. The last time I checked, when you went to the cupboard and pulled out a bag of Doritos, no one had a gun to your head forcing you to A, buy those Doritos and bring them to your house, and B, pull them out of your cupboard. That's 100% on you. And I think from the fitness industry, the reason I wanted to give people this lecture today, because the sooner we can take some accountability, the better we're going to be. You chose this 100%. You, quote unquote, you voted for this. Yep. You wanted this. You might not look at it like this, but to a degree, when you sit down and eat your chips, you want to be fat.
Yeah.
Now that sounds harsh, but
what is the phrase now? You FA and now you got to FO.
Yep. I don't care how this affects me. That's just reality, and that's real talk. So where we're going with this, if you're out of shape, if you're not where you want to be, if you want to be better, sit down and make a list of your day-to-day activities. Then circle the activities that are not conducive with the talk that's coming out of your mouth. I want to be more fit. Okay, I ate chips yesterday. Maybe we shouldn't eat chips. I had a talk with one of my clients today, Joe. He's not losing weight. Says he's eating healthy. Says he's putting in the work, but he's been stalled out for 2 months. Hasn't lost a pound. I said, well, clearly you're not doing the work. No, I work hard. That's his perception. Great.
Yeah.
But if that was true, you'd be losing weight. So here's the possibilities. You're either eating too much or you're not exercising enough. Otherwise, you would be coming down in weight. I don't care how you skin it. I don't care that you tell me about the healthy meal you had last Tuesday. I don't care if you only had half of a sushi roll instead of a full sushi roll. The reality is, if there was a caloric deficit, you would be losing weight. And if there's no caloric deficit, there is something wrong there. 100% of the time. Even the person with the worst metabolic disorder in the world, if I stuck them on Naked and Afraid and didn't let them eat for 30 days, they would lose a ton of weight.
Yeah. Well, and there's a thing too, like you mentioned, like one chip, right? But nobody eats one chip. And you might be sitting there saying, yeah, I'm trying to lose weight, but one chip isn't going to affect me. But it isn't just one, right? It ends up being half the bag. And it isn't just that time. It's a little bit of that every day for weeks. And that does add up.
And it also works the other way, right?
That's what I was just going to say. It goes both ways. Like those little tiny things you do to help improve your situation also add up over time.
I want to highlight our channel here.
Yeah.
Got a YouTube play button. Big deal in the YouTube world. Kids say I'm an actual YouTuber now. 100,000 subs. But I want to use this, A, to brag, but B, to demonstrate a point, Joe, because this also demonstrates a point about exercise. When you see the person that's fit, when you see the person that has the physique you want, when you see a 46-year-old Bobby Maximus, when you see this book, you know what you say? He's lucky. He must have good genetics. He doesn't have kids. He must spend all day in a gym. So let's take it away fitness and talk about YouTube. You're thinking all I do is post a video up on the internet once a week. And all of a sudden the universe just came to me and said, hey, you get this play button. You can make money now. You're a real YouTuber. That's what you think. And you think you're going to start a YouTube channel and you just slap up your garbage videos and nothing happens. And then you say, well, Bobby's lucky. You know what you don't see? The hours of editing.
Right.
The writing. The script.
I was going to point out, just this show, just this podcast is a very small part of your YouTube channel. It's just one thing that's going on there. But this is what, episode 234?
Yep.
Like, when did we start this? It was before the pandemic,
and
right?
Walk me through the process. This episode is going to be about 15 to 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And we do an hour of phone calls of pre-production to talk about what we're going to talk about and get topics ready. Then the cameras stop. You got to tear down the lighting. You got to do the editing. You got to check the sound. You got to write the show notes. You got to come up with a thumbnail. You got to, like, you're acting like all we do is record a little selfie at home and just pop this up on the internet. There's some real effort that goes into these videos, and that's one very small part of the channel. But you act like this just happens, and you're going to say, well, Bobby's lucky.
Yeah.
So that's what happens with exercise. You're going to look at the fit person, and you're not going to say, man, they must spend a lot of time in the gym, or man, they must eat healthy, or man, they must have made some sacrifices along the way. No, you're going to say they must have good genetics. They must be on TRT. They must
be nice.
So it goes the other way too. When the reality is they just made better decisions. Just like you chose this, they chose that. That's the key. And that's what we're trying to get through to you. So if you want to be fit, make better decisions. If you want to be less fit, make poor decisions. It's really not that complicated, Joe. And that's it.
Yeah. That's it. That's all there is to it.
So you know what you can do? You can take your out of shape rear end. You can get off the couch and you can start making some good decisions. And in the meantime, you can subscribe. You can click that bell. You can share the episode with your friends. You can tell them that their fitness level is all their fault. It will really make them feel good about themselves. And you can tune in for the next episode.